Do I have to wake up? Do I really have to wake up?
Can we go back to sleep?
Can we go back to sleep? Can we sleep as well as the 49ers offensive line slept during that game?
I mean, I got to be honest with you, Larry. There's not even a part of me that misses watching two of the best defensive football players in their primes playing for the same team, a team that I cover. I'm not going to miss that at all. I'm not going to miss the best chess piece on the board just destroying everything in front of them, because I don't even like watching defensive football. I'm almost glad that this has happened.
Wake up, everybody. Wake up.
Whether it be a pig in a pickle, a pluse in a pickle, or a rock in a hard place, you're back and we're in it once again. God damn it. I mean, it does not end. Good morning. Welcome to San Francisco. Welcome to real sports pain. I mean, that's what's going on here with the 49ers. It's not just physical pain. This is real sports pain. This is emotional torture. This is psychological warfare that a football team has declared upon its own fan base with these injuries. Larry, we're going to try to put some perspective on this bad boy. We're going to try to offer a little common sense to a very upset chat, very upset fan base. We will do our best. In some regards, we will succeed. In most cases, I'm guessing we're going to fail, because there is no positive spin here. There is no, but blank and blank and blank and blank can happen and everything should be okay. This sucks. Fred Warner's injuries.
Okay, let me offer the first bit of perspective here.
Okay.
If you did the exercise, and don't say you didn't do it, we all did it. When the schedule came out of, okay, that's a win, okay, that's a loss, okay, that's a win, okay, that's a loss, just ask yourself one question. Did you have the 49ers going 17-0? Did you have them going 17-0? And if not, what game did you have them losing? And I would say most people, if they were being real, mark this as a loss. I would say almost every Niner fan in the country said, you know what, this is a loss. Not necessarily Saturday night or Sunday morning, but when the schedule came out and all through the summer and before we got into the regular season, I think if you're looking at that, you're going, that back-to-back trip to Los Angeles and Tampa looks kind of tough. And that second one being at Tampa. Tampa was a playoff team. They had a good draft. Baker's there. He's one of the best quarterbacks you're going to play. You know, that's a loss.
Larry,
I think most people had that as a loss. So I guess I would just say what really happened here. The 49ers are 4-2, and they lost a game that many of us had down as a loss at the beginning of the year. So we can't be like, oh my God, I cannot believe they lost by 11. The real kick to the gut is the Fred Warner injury.
That's it.
And the injuries that just keep mounting for the 49ers. And it makes you wonder about a lot of things this morning. It makes you wonder about their season. It makes you wonder about their motivation to acquire more players in the next 2 or 3 weeks. You know, it really, it's like, how do we feel about the Niners? And then we also have to discuss, how do the Niners feel about the Niners after this?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I got no problem with losing the football game. There are a couple points in that game where, had it just gone the other way, they might not have lost it. All right. So losing football games happens. It sucks when this team goes into a training camp and then you got all these mysterious injuries popping up and you don't ever see it happen. Like, I know how Fred Warner got hurt. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. So there's no mystery there, but just losing him. I mean, it's no matter where you thought this year was going. And I still think they're going to be a playoff team, by the way. This year, here's the thing. Not only is the year not over, it's still closer to its beginning than it is its middle or its end. All right. There are 11 football games that are still coming up on the schedule. They will not be forfeited. The 49ers will play in all of them. There is a trade to make. There is a season to salvage. But if the happiness of every single person has only one X marks the spot. They need to win the Super Bowl for me to feel like a normal human being again. I have a feeling that this is going to be another abnormal year of feeling like a normal human being for 49ers fans, because without Bosa and without Warner, they just conceptually cannot reach the peak, the zenith of whatever this was going to be. Whether it was going to be the Super Bowl or the NFC title game or a playoff week 2 appearance, wherever this was going to go, it feels like it ain't going to quite get there now. And that sucks. That really, really sucks. Good news, Tatum Bethune played well coming in. It's not like the Niners defense played well around him, but he came in, made a lot of tackles. But it's devastating to the defense. It's devastating to the season's potential. It's devastating to a man who is assembling a Hall of Fame resume. To take away a prime year of Fred Warner's career for him, just personally, sucks. He's missed only one of 122 career games and will miss the remainder of this season. It sucks for him. The only light at the end of the tunnel might be hey, you did reach the Super Bowl and Fred can play in that game. Which, if that did happen, I guess that would be awesome, but it's rough, Larry. This sucks for everyone. The coaches, the team, Saleh, the fans, Jonan payroll. It sucks for Larry Krueger. It sucks for your forgotten laptop. It sucks. It sucks.
Well, let me just say this too. I mean, I think the other thing that we have to get out of this is that it can be over in the blink of an eye. Okay. Oh. It can be over. I mean, I don't want to be anti-Dieter because I love Dieter, but the whole crowd of people talking about 26, like everything was going to, like, football is something that you can plan for the way you plan for a Zoom call. It's going to be Thursday at 2:15, Damon, and it's going to last 22 minutes. You know what I mean?
Nothing will go wrong.
Football is not like that. If football were like that, then guess what? In 2013, when we're thinking about Patrick Willis, we're thinking he's 28 and he's got 5 good years ahead. And in reality, he was 28 and he had 6 games ahead. And then he was done. So all I would say is the crowd of people that are banking on the future, there's a reason that football coaches and players and scouts and everybody are like, hey man, next man up next week, because you can literally die this week. You can literally have your career ended anytime you take that field. I thought Bowman and Willis in 2013 was going to go on for the next 5, 6, 7 years. They've got their inside linebacker duo for the next foreseeable future, and it didn't last.
Larry, if
Bowman got hurt, Willis got hurt, and they were gone in the blink of an eye. So all I would say is we were thinking Greenlaw and Warner and Greenlaw. And I said to somebody a couple months ago, I said, Warner has not quite crested the hill, but he's almost there on the downside. But he's still at that level. And he was playing at that level. But it was like people shot back at me on whatever it was, YouTube comments or whatever. And we're like, heresy. Like, how dare you say that? He's only this age and this and that. And it's like, no, dude, I know and you don't. It doesn't go on forever. And if you think it does, you're wrong. And you just haven't lived enough to see it. And the sport is violent. Larry, chart where it goes from here. That's all I would say. Chart where it goes from here. I'm not saying that Fred Warner's done, but he's way, 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 way closer to being done than he is to the beginning.
Absolutely.
And stop planning for the future like it's like, oh, we know that a year from now you're going to have this guy, this piece, this piece, this piece, and it's all. No, it's not the way it works. That entire plan could be ruined on the first series against the Falcons in week 7.
Right. Aaron Rodgers is a New York Jet. 4 plays. It's over in 4 plays. Years of building up to whatever that was supposed to be, just done in 4 plays. And that's how quickly it all can go. Look, 3 years, I think, is a realistic window in which to have a plan. Any plan that is longer than 3 years, now you're asking for 2 lifetimes, because 3 football seasons is a lifetime of football. That's how much can change over the course of 3 years. And right now, if this was the end of a 3-year plan, if this was supposed to be the beginning of the next 3-year plan, the losses of Bosa and Fred Warner, again, who out there said, well, it really can't get worse? Haha, God laughs. I guess the last thing to go would be Christian McCaffrey. Like, if that were to happen, then you could really say, all right, well, I guess that's a wrap. But as we were saying, there are 11 more games. This is a first-place team. They're actually 4-2 when they should probably be 2-4. But you're not going to apologize for anything. You're about to get Purdy, Kittle, and Pearsall back for Sunday Night Football, an unbeatable Falcons team. After that, you're talking about the Texans. Then it's the New York Giants. You got to go 2-3. Then you're back in your division playing the Rams and the Cardinals. So there's an awful lot of football here left. Robert Saleh is very good at this job. Tatum Bethune, cook, young man. Nick Martin, let's see it. We haven't seen you yet. I think we're going to see you now. I don't think Nick Martin's going to have better reps on special teams in practice to hit the field. I'm thinking he's going to hit the field on Monday now, Larry. The calculus of any trade that might be made, that's what we need to talk about here. And that is the truth serum that the team will be giving itself, right? What do they believe they can get out of this season with these 2 devastating defensive injuries? What are they about to do? It's the very.
I don't. Here's. I hear what you're saying, but I kind of think that the plan should always be the plan because of what I just said. Because it's over quick. Because Willis was done at 29. Because Bowman was done at 29. Because Fred Warner right now is 29. Because you may never the Bosa, Warner, Williams, CMC. I would say my mindset would be the same as it's always been, which is don't trade day 1 or day 2 picks. There's 2 kinds of trades that get made in the NFL. The big trade, Deshaun Watson, Herschel Walker, where lots and lots and lots of capital get moved for a guy who's thought to be a great player. And then all the other trades, which are like the good players and the okay players and the mediocre players and the decent players, get traded for nothing. A 6th-round pick, a 7th-round pick. If I'm the 49ers, I'm absolutely this morning still in that latter camp of, yeah, I'm all ears. You got a pass rusher that I can have for a 6th-round pick that I can add? Yeah, but the idea that I'm going to trade you my number 1 or my number 2 or my number 3 for Trey Hendrickson or one guy when, we're weeks and weeks and weeks away from the playoffs. I don't even know what kind of team I'm going to have. I don't even know what my needs are really even going to be. So I think if I were the 49ers, I'd be out of the primo trade biz for the year for sure. And I would be still very much in the what can I get for nothing mode.
The only thing I think I might have one team with a quick fix of maybe some things that are going on here. How about a second? I'm going to call it the 2-for-2 trade. I'm going to give you a second rounder to New Orleans for Demario Davis and Cam Jordan.
I mean, I don't like it. Here's why. Those guys are old.
They are
really old.
They are old.
That's an only this year plan. I don't think that's the plan. I mean, I hear you, and there's nothing wrong with those guys, and there's nothing wrong with that idea. But it's all about 2025. And I think because of their situation with all the young players, they got to hedge a little bit. So, like, for example, Brad Graham threw out Miles Murphy. Now, Miles Murphy is not a big name guy, but he's 23. And he's got a lot of upside, and you're going to have him controlled for the next 2 or 3 years if you could get him. So I think I would be more in line with more interested in a deal of somebody that it wasn't all about 2025, because then you're really lessening your future to just for the present, which I think maybe I would want to, anything that I'm getting better, I'd like to get better in the present.
The
and
thing is,
and
though,
the
here's
close future.
what you still got going for you is the single most wide open football season I have ever seen. A very good looking schedule.
Yeah.
It's hard today to talk about the Niners about to get healthier with the devastating Fred Warner news. But again, they're about to get their Hall of Fame tight end, their starting quarterback, their very interesting, looks like a number one wide receiver back. Then at some point they get Brandon Ayuk back. They're not giving up on this year. There are 11 more games. You know, people are saying season's cooked, season cooked. Dude, the kitchen just opened. The season is not cooked. There is more football to come than has been played. You're not even at the halfway point yet. So I don't want to hear any of this. It's cooked. It's over. Now, I know that these are not the trades that you would make under normal circumstances. This is a pull the emergency lever trade. And I honestly don't even know if the 1-5 Saints would take a second rounder for two older players, but they're two players. They're two players who would fill the need that is an immediate need on a team that is a first place team that shouldn't be thinking it's all over and done with. I did like.
I mean, I hear you. I like DeMario Davis. I like Cam Jordan. I just liked him more 5 years ago. And
of course,
I don't want to block. No more blocking the young players. I mean, what the heck? You stop blocking these guys. Tatum Bethune has been sitting, waiting. Let him play. Nick Martin has been sitting, waiting. Let him play. I mean, you're not going to get that many guys that are that much better. And even if they're a little bit better, they're older, they don't know your scheme. It's going to take 3-4 weeks to get them up to speed, teach them your scheme. I mean, if you can get DeMario Davis for nothing, yeah, I'd do it. I mean, when I say nothing, I mean like a fourth round or less in a draft pick compensation, I would do it. But I think I'd be more interested in acquiring the younger player that for whatever reason, somebody got tired of or doesn't believe in anymore and needs a change of scenery. I mean, heck, we just saw Baker Mayfield was on this list 2 years ago. The young player that's not fitting in their current situation and just needs a fresh start.
You know what list he's on now, Larry? He's on the MVP bad motherfucker list, isn't he? Dude, I'm telling you, Baker Mayfield has got more that's what you want Brock Purdy to be. I mean, that's Baker Mayfield is out there battling his ass off, and you can see the entire team has just totally bought into everything he's picking up and putting down. He's out there doing it with second and third wide receivers as well, just like the 49ers are trying to do it too.
I mean, the Niners just got beat bad by the B team. I mean, I hear what you're saying about, the Niners are getting this guy back and that guy back. But, I mean, let's talk about it real. So what? The Niners are going to get a few guys back, and then they're going to play this Tampa team in the playoffs. Oh, and at that time, they're going to have Bucky Irving, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, a healthy Emeka Egbuka, and how many points are they going to score on you then? Your defense gave up 30 to their backup running back, their backup receivers. I mean, that was embarrassing. But you got toasted by Sterling Shepard, Cam Johnson, Tez Johnson, Cade Otton, and Rachaad White.
But
that's their B team.
But the week before in the divisional, Baker Mayfield got hurt. You want to play that game now, don't you? Wouldn't you like to play?
Who's the backup?
Mayfield got hurt. Yeah, I don't even know, and I don't even care. Like, that's the thing. There are so many moving parts between now and what the playoffs could hold that you still building as if you are going to try to go win it all. I think if you're the 49ers, but the calculus for the trade you're about to make probably does change. But if you really want to be real, do we want to get real this wake up? All right, fine. The prospects of winning it all, to be totally honest, probably were not dashed in a Fred Warner ankle or a Nick Bosa, whatever. The prospects of winning it all were probably dashed when this team unattended the priority of fixing an offensive line by adding a center either in free agency or in the draft. And what happened yesterday to this 49ers offensive line is as big of a problem as Fred Warner's done for the year. that offensive line specifically, and I hate to say it because I'm a Dominic Puni fan, man, I really am, but he had the worst game of his young career yesterday. I have not seen any Pro Football Focus grade on him yet. I don't need to. He was bad, and Vita Vea is a handful, and it was the Vita Vea handful runneth over for Dominic Puni yesterday. He just was outgunned. And two things that happened in that game are just cannot happen plays. The number one cannot happen play is Dominic Puni jumping on 4th and 1. And then the other thing that can't happen is Baker Mayfield picking up 3rd and 13 with his legs spinning out of 2 tackles to do it. That was a baller play by Baker Mayfield, man. That's where the game officially.
Well, no, I mean the Niners did this all day. They couldn't. They had bodies around Rachaad White. They just couldn't tackle him.
Couldn't wrap him.
They had bodies around Baker Mayfield. They just couldn't tackle him. Everybody acted like they were exhausted, and yet the Niners were the team that was more rested. The Niners had extra rest days. You never would have known it. I mean, the Niners got in the backfield. They had bodies around Rachaad White, but they let him get away. And the same thing with Tucker. I mean, I went through this game last night with a fine-tooth comb and had all kinds of time to do so. And there were several plays in this game that were just absolutely alarming. And one of them was that Tucker touchdown. The Tucker touchdown where he went untouched.
Untouched?
That was, I mean, Mikel Williams gets caught inside, and then let me see if I can find the play. And then I mean, it was.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Fred Warner is the guy who cleans that up. You know, Fred Warner's out there. I don't think he's just running it in untouched to the pylon. There was that other play in the game where it was a man in motion, goes all the way across the formation. The Niners never picked it up, and it set up that. I think it's the play that set up the touchdown that you're talking about.
The play I'm talking about is Sean Tucker's 4-yard touchdown run. He went untouched. Mikel Williams got stuck inside and lost contain. And then Renardo Green got held for just a tiny little second by Tez Johnson. It went uncalled, and Tucker went into the end zone untouched. But, I mean, Mikel Williams, you're the right defensive end. It's a run to your side. You bang your left shoulder on the offensive lineman or the tight end's, body, and you just it was like you were just attached to him.
Right.
You didn't come off that block at all. Right? You didn't react at all. It was like the guy just ran right by you. This guy's supposed to be an awesome edge setter. Well, he didn't set the edge there at all. I mean, it was a run to his side, to his edge, and he was just locked inside. And then Green got grabbed for 1 second by Tez Johnson, and then he couldn't get out there, and it was Tucker right to the pylon. It was just it was a frustrating day across the board. The bigger question is this. Should the Niners are doing what the Warriors tried to do and failed. I mean, let's talk about it for a second. The Warriors said, hey, look, we've got this expensive arena and we've won these titles. Let's go with a second timeline of young guys, and we'll have a second timeline of guys, a younger group around Steph and Draymond and the veterans. And then what have they done? They basically have ruined Jonathan Kuminga's career. They've ruined Moses Moody's career and development. They don't have a second timeline. They've quit on their second timeline. They're about to hand Jonathan Kuminga, who's one of the best athletes in the league, over for Corey Kispert, for crying out loud. And they've quit on their 2 timeline thing, and they've gotten older, and now they're going to take their geriatric squad and they're going to drive it off a cliff. That's their 2 timelines is like, let's dabble with it. You know what? The young guys aren't quite as great as the old guys were. So let's dump the young guys, quit on the young guys, go all in on Jimmy, Draymond, and Steph, add more old guys, and watch. They're going to be cooked. Watch the Warriors' record in the second half of the year. They are going to be absolutely cooked from Christmas to the end of the year. They're going to be absolutely a shit show. I think mark it down. An awful lot. They're going to be terrible. They're going to be absolutely terrible. They're going to be. They got nothing. They're a bunch of old guys who are going to hit as soon as you got to play every day And once these young teams start to stretch their legs, the Warriors are going to get flushed. Well, guess what? The Niners are now trying this 2-timeline thing, and it's working about as well. Okay, so instead of doing what the Warriors did and quitting on the youth, I think the Niners should maybe consider quitting on the old guys and pivoting here at the deadline. You have Trent Williams. You have George Kittle. You have Christian McCaffrey. You have difference-making individuals that other teams would probably give you a round or two higher of a pick than they actually should, just because those guys are such proven winners. And it's like, you know what they should really have is the hard conversation of, when do you say goodbye to Trent? When do you just let those guys all retire and get nothing? Well, or do you look at this year and go, you know what? How about this? Instead of losing draft capital, how about we send Trent Williams to the Ravens or some other team and see if we can get their day 2 pick? Why don't we send George Kittle to Green Bay and see if we can get their day 2 pick? I
don't think the Ravens are about to be buyers. So
well, I'm just saying. I mean, obviously not the Ravens.
Here, right? I know.
But why not trade off of some of these old guys that are about to expire, instead of trying to live in this delusion where if you somehow going to acquire the right piece that's going to make you not miss Bosa and Warner?
Okay, so are you telling me that your prescription right now is for the 49ers to be sellers? That's how you're addressing the rest of this season? Because
you and I are, we're doing this thing that we always do the day after the game. We're having a talk, discussion. We're having a conversation. I'm suggesting that it might be a better plan to lean into the youth movement and accelerate the youth movement by getting a couple of strategic picks for a couple of veteran players that are either at the very end or near the very end.
But again, where are you going to turn if you trade Trent Williams? Who is
you just keep going? You just keep going.
Who's your starting left tackle that is supposed to prevent Brock Purdy from having L4, L5 spinal surgery when he gets cut in half?
I know it's gonna have to be a long term. There's gonna have to be some. There's gonna have to be some short term pain, and then there would be some long term gain, and that pick is gonna come in the that pick has to come. That tackle, your replacement tackle, has to come in the draft. So you need more draft picks. You need more draft capital. I'm just saying, instead of getting rid of draft capital, maybe they ought to consider, and Kev and I've talked about this, and Kev thinks, there's no way they're going to sell. And I'm not saying that. I'm not making a prediction. I'm just discussing what's in their best interest. Is it in their best interest to trade their second round pick, or is it in their best interest to trade one of their veteran players for a second round pick? That's the question.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, Jake Tungus catching some footballs. You want to trade George Kittle, though? I don't think I do.
I don't want to trade any of these guys, Damon, but it's all about trying to win a Super Bowl. When are you going to win a Super Bowl? And I get it. All these teams are flawed, and you suffered some crushing injuries, but other teams are going to suffer crushing injuries. Heck, the team you just played you could argue, was more injured than you are. And yet they beat you. So, it's just a matter of how do you want to play your hand of cards going forward. I would say there's no chance in hell that I would trade day 1 or day 2 capital for the kinds of pieces that you would need to make yourself a contender.
How about
I'm not trading. I don't want to trade a second round pick for a rental of
all right,
of a 30-year-old D lineman.
Then I'm bought in. But what I do want is this offensive line addressed in this offseason, and not another kick the can down the road. Let's try to moneyball this bad boy offensive line. The 49ers have been caught with their pants down in terms of their offensive line. They really have. And we were screaming, don't do that, don't do that. They decided to do it. And you can look around. Like, Mack Jones throws for 500 fucking yards yesterday if he's got a decent offensive line in front of him. I mean, Mac Jones has 300 passing yard games in back-to-back games through 4 starts. Mac Jones is thrown for 1,252 yards. He passes Garoppolo for the most yards in his first 4 starts in a 49er uniform by anybody. Anyone who's trying to blame yesterday's loss on Mac Jones is the most pumpkin spice latte basic bitch watching football there is.
Is there anybody out there who is?
I think there are a couple people out there who are trying to put it on Mac. And here's the thing. Now, Mac did have a couple through behind the wide receivers. He definitely turned the ball over. He got strip sacked, and he fumbled another one away that luckily, he's got
to hold on to the ball better.
He's got to hold on to the ball better. But, oh, my God, this guy is giving it the office. And, someone who was ever saying, trade Brock Purdy, keep Mac Jones. No, you need Brock Purdy because Brock Purdy is basically Mac Jones, but a little bit more mobile. And if you ain't a little bit more mobile behind this offensive line, you ain't going to last more than 3-4 games because you will be beaten. I mean, this offensive line isn't doing the job opening up anything for Christian McCaffrey. They're also failing doing their job protecting their quarterback. So what would you say it is you guys do here other than take up space? I mean, it's an offensive line failure. And we can see with our own 2 eyes that no matter who the running back is, who the quarterback is, who the wide receivers are, Kyle's cranking out 350 yards of offense with people in the fucking stands playing. Imagine if those people in the stands playing, cranking out 350, actually had some decent offensive protection in their line. The 49ers are undefeated with a good offensive line this year because Christian McCaffrey is averaging 125 yards on the ground this year. But no. They're 2.9 yards per carry this year. It's the worst running game of Kyle's career so far.
Can we have a real conversation again? I mean, is Christian McCaffrey done or is the line crap? But don't tell me that McCaffrey's the best back in football and then tell me in the next breath that PFF says the Niners have a top 5 offensive line because it's not working. They can't run. They have no running game. When you have no running game, guess what? You have no offensive balance. And when you have no offensive balance, your great coach can get by for a week, maybe 2, but eventually when people realize, hey, they don't have any offensive balance, they're dropping back and passing 40 times a game. Mac Jones, Damon, has taken 20 hits in the last 2 weeks. That is not sustainable. Don't tell me about this offensive line and how good they are when you can't run to save your life. You're a horrible running team, and your quarterback has taken 20 hits in the last 2 weeks. I want to see lineup changes. I want to see growth. I want to see movement. I don't want to see the same old. Don't gaslight me any fucking more about this offensive line. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to. Take your goddamn PFF stats, and as far as I'm concerned, you can blow up that whole PFF idea, because if PFF says the Niners have a good offensive line, then PFF has no credibility. They cannot run, and their quarterback's been hit 20 times in the last 2 weeks. 20. That's unsustainable. That's a 400 hit season. This guy's not going to make it to Halloween. Forget Thanksgiving, forget the playoffs, and sure as fuck forget the Super Bowl. That's ridiculous. It's like somebody who just took their grandmother's 3rd car that has like 19 different problems, decided they're going cross country, left their house in the Bay Area, broke down in Modesto, and are still hoping to get to Connecticut. No, you're not going to get there.
You ain't going to make it to Burning Man.
Yeah, you're not getting to Denver, let alone Connecticut. I mean, let's get real here. Your offensive line needs adjustment. Trent Williams is, and by the way, there's a few things that I got to get off my chest. Just because you lose a game, doesn't mean you can lose control. Trent Williams has lost control now 5 or 6 times at the end of games.
Yeah.
When the game's over, it's not license to just do whatever the fuck you want because you're pissed. So he's got to seriously analyze where he's at. That's one. 2, What the fuck is Sky Moore doing? You're catching multiple punts and kickoffs inside the 5.
On the 2-yard line. Your feet are on the 2-yard line. What are you doing?
What
Sky
are you
Moore?
doing?
Oh,
There's an old saying, line up at the 10, and if it goes over your head, let it go.
Right.
You know, and instead you're lining up inside the 5 and you're catching those balls and you're coming flying out of there, taking monster hits. I mean,
here's the thing, too.
The week before, you muffed the opening punt, the opening kickoff of the game, and almost turned it over. It's like, they are horrible on special teams, except for Eddie Pinheiro.
And if the punter has the perfect 48-degree sand wedge and that kick spins back and it's at the most perfect bounce and
tip your cap
of all time, that's fine. That's fine. The chances of that happening are dwarfed by the chances of that ball bouncing through the end zone. You know, so come on, Sky Moore. You do one thing for this team and you do it so averagely, it's scary.
And then what's Juwan Jennings doing? You're arguing about not getting the ball? You've got every injury known to man.
Did you say you had 5 broken ribs, dude? If you have 5 broken ribs, sit down, shut up. You shouldn't even be talking or breathing hard with your 5 broken ribs.
But I mean, I get it. He's out there, but I mean, it's like, so I can't decide if Juwan Jennings is all about the team or himself. I can't decide. I'm not really sure. On one hand, I'd say he's all about the team. He's out there with 5 broken ribs. But then when he says, get me the ball, I feel like he's all about the incentives in his contract. And since he's only practiced twice, you know, all season, it's like, makes me wonder, you know, if he's on the Juwan Jennings plan. Like, it's all about JJ.
Look at it this way. Do you think, Juwan, for a second, that Mac Jones is being picky about who he's throwing to?
Right. Anybody who's open, he's going to. He threw it to MVS.
Get open. You'll get the ball. It's just, it is just that simple. Well, I do want to say, though, you brought his name up. Eddie Pinheiro. Everyday Eddie. If you had to go out and buy a 49ers jersey this year, I was going to tell you to get a Fred Warner jersey. Now you should probably get a Pinheiro jersey because this guy is unbelievable. 15 of 15, and he's banging them through the uprights at 50+ on the reg.
And it also, I hate to say it, but it makes you jump up and go, where the fuck was this guy? Why the fuck did you guys wait so long?
How about,
I mean, maybe I'm showing a little too much emotion and anger this morning, but what the fuck? You had Jake Moody for weeks, and you had this guy sitting on his couch, the 3rd most accurate kicker in the NFL, who's made 90% of his kicks career, and you're going into the regular season with Jake Moody. I mean, talk about the Niners are the luckiest team of all time. They had a horrible kicker that they invested a day 2 pick in because they don't know the draft. And then they finally replaced him when they absolutely were forced to. And they find a guy who's arguably one of the greatest kickers in 49er history.
Look, I'm going to just tell you this. Going back to your analogy of trying to take the hoopty on the cross-country ride.
Right.
Imagine if you did that. But then the real kicker was, that's the car you chose. You had a perfectly serviceable Honda Civic in the garage, but you chose the Buick Hoopty when you had the Honda Civic. Pinheiro is a Honda Civic. Honda Civics are the most popular selling cars in the world.
Why does the domestic car have to be the bad car?
Exactly.
Why are you anti-America?
Oh, boy. Sorry.
Well, the Honda's better than the Buick?
I'm looking forward to that Bad Bunny halftime show more than anybody. Down with America. No, but it's just good. It's just the 49ers. Here's the thing. I think there are a lot of people who are involved with the 49ers who are very, very, very good at their jobs, who are really good at what they do and are worth keeping around and further investing in. I also think it's easy to see some of these guys who I think are very good at what they do also have massive blind spots in what they do, and it continues to bite the 49ers in their ass over and over and over again. Again, don't draft another wide receiver ever. Ever. Don't do it, because they're all Jacob Cowing. Luckily, Ricky Pearsall seems to be Ricky Pearsall, and he's not Jacob Cowing. But all your Jordan Watkins and your Jordan James and your Danny Grays and all this, the 49ers have a collection of, we drafted these guys, but they can't even crack the field. We're on WR4. We're on wide receiver 4 out here, and we can't get a rookie wide receiver out on this field. We can't get Jacob Cowing, who is in his second year out here. That's how fucking useless that guy is. All of those trades, all of those players who have done nothing, all of those picks should have been packaged for Armand Membu. Like, I know I'm just.
Nobody would have complained if you had drafted a Emeka Egbuka, but I hear what you're saying. The Buccaneers found Tez Johnson in the 7th round, and he burns you for a touchdown. It's especially if you really can call up Kendrick Bourne and get what they've gotten.
Seriously,
he's two games in a row, he's gone for 142 yards. It's like it does make you wonder what the heck are you doing with your draft picks, why are you drafting receivers at all? But yeah, the real thing is not about what they shouldn't draft, it's what they should draft. They haven't drafted a good offensive tackle. Who was the last good offensive tackle the 49ers drafted? McKivitz, but before that, it's been a long time.
Joe Staley is the last great offensive lineman that the 49ers drafted. I'm going to take Dominic Pooney off that greatness path for just a moment. He could get. They've
drafted more punters and kickers than offensive tackles. That's a fact.
Right. By the way, this is the correct answer right here. Broken metronome. Upati was a good draft pick.
Okay. First round pick. Anthony Davis and Upati went in the first round that year. He was a good pick. They went to the Super Bowl. They almost won it if Harbaugh hadn't gagged. But it's just they're in a bad spot. You got two quarterbacks, but they're both hurt. It's like the plan is just so bad. It's like it's such a bad plan. It can't even speak to it. Think about it. If I told you, you know what, I've got a family heirloom Damon in my home here, and it is fucking priceless. It is amazing. This thing is worth more than every asset that you have put together, and I have it right here in my house. Oh, wow, that's amazing. And you must have a heavy security system. No. In fact, we leave the doors unlocked.
I would say if you have something.
We leave the doors unlocked and we don't have security. My wife wanted Brinks, but I said no. I said I wanted this. She said no. So we just have nothing. We have nothing and we leave the doors unlocked, but we have a priceless heirloom sitting just 5 feet inside the front door. And it's worth so much. It's just an unbelievable. That's the Niners. It's like you have Brock Purdy. You signed him to a $265 million contract. You value quarterback play enough that you traded or you signed Mac Jones to a multi-year deal. So now you have two quarterbacks that you believe in, and you don't want to build up the offensive line. Your backup tight end is Tonjes, who's a good receiver, but he's not a blocker. You don't have any. You can't protect. Why would you have something so valuable? It's like I bought a Lamborghini, but I'm driving without insurance.
Larry, luckily, Jillian's doing well at Salesforce. Last stock bump we decided that we were going to purchase the Venus de Milo from the Louvre. We leave it on our front porch.
Yeah, people, we put it right next to our plastic jack-o'-lantern that has Twix in it that we leave out for Halloween for the kids. We got the priceless heirloom right there next to it. But we're not. Yeah, it's a bad plan. It's a bad plan. You're going to pay your quarterback $265 million, and then you're not going to protect him. You're not going to build a line. It's like when teams take over franchises, expansion franchises, they start with the quarterback. Okay. Then they go to the left tackle, then they start protecting the quarterback. It's like, get the quarterback, get the protection for the quarterback. Well, the 49ers, it's like they get the quarterback, they've got the left tackle, and they just are like, the rest of the line, we're just going to kind of piecemeal this thing together. And then it does make you feel a little bit frustrated in that if Chris Forster is such an awesome coach, why is Dom Pooney regressing significantly in his second year under his tutelage? Why is he way worse this year than last year? If you have a great offensive line coach.
Look, I mean, here's the thing. Progress is not linear. We know that. But Vita Vea is also
I think he goes by Vita, but yeah.
Vita Vea. But either way, he's kicking ass. And
there's Vita Water.
Vita Vea, vitamins.
Vitamins.
Look, Larry,
get some vitamins.
It's just this simple. I mean, it is something that my high school football coach said every practice, to the point where we're like, he should probably come up with something else to say, because he says that way too much. But the reason why I said it way too much is because it is the truth of every football game that has ever been played. It's all about blocking and tackling. Everything out here is just to sell tickets. The 49ers, unfortunately, are bad at the two most important things a football team needs to be good at: blocking and tackling. Tackling remains a problem. It has improved slightly. It's not going to get any better, though, without Fred Warner or Nick Bosa out of the room. And from a blocking standpoint, there is some negligence that is on full display in how this team built its offensive line. And I don't think there's any arguing against that. I don't think there's any masking it. I don't think there's covering it up. I don't think Dave Lombardi's got a chart to prove that I'm wrong, because I got my own two eyes. And I know that the center of your offensive line is a wide open screen door for defenders to run through to get to your quarterback. And you can have a mobile quarterback like Brock Purdy, and he's in trouble. You can have a guy like Mac Jones, who wants to get the ball out as fast as Dan Marino, and he's in trouble. And you've got one of the 50 greatest football players of all time. Christian McCaffrey's in the top 50 players in the history of this league, and you can't get him better than 2.9 yards per carry right now. And that is not on bilateral Achilles tendonitis. That's on the offensive line. Christian McCaffrey is cracker jacks. He's still the capital M-A-N man. One of the single best football players in this league, full stop. Period. That's who he remains. And the 49ers get their 100 scrimmage yards out of him all the time, but they don't get their $160 out of him anymore, because he's not popping that big play. And the 49ers have always been about 300 yards of offense. But even though everyone wants to say Brock is dink and dunk, you can go ahead and look at Warren Sharp old tweets, and he's saying this team, along with the Baltimore Ravens, leads the NFL in explosive plays year after year after year. Nothing's exploding anymore, Larry. The explosive
plays no speed.
Have vanished.
They have no speed. They have a geriatric wide receiver crew. And their tight end, when it's not Tonjes, is Luke Farrell. I mean, to me, the Niners yesterday could be summed up in a 2-play sequence or a 3-play sequence. Okay, it was late first quarter, Damon, and the Niners got off the field. Right, it was the series where Egbuka forgot he was great. And he dropped a pass on 2nd and 7. The ball was a little bit behind him. Then on 3rd and 7, Mayfield said, "I'm going right back to Egbuka," and he dropped it again. And there was some serious glare yesterday on the Sun side. You could see it. It was really harsh. And I think maybe that bothered Egbuka. I'll give him a pass. All right. So anyway, the Niners luck out. It's 4th and 7. They punt. That play, why the fuck is Sky Moore catching that punt inside the 5?
Right.
Okay. Instead of letting it drop in. So he makes the first major mistake. He fields it at the 5, runs 11 yards, gets smoked at the 15, and the Niners start the drive at the 16-yard line. Okay. So that's the first mistake. The second mistake is Jones drops back to pass on 1st and 10 from the 16. And unbelievably, and we haven't really talked about this at all, but Todd Bowles, who blitzed Purdy last year 44% of the time, barely blitzed at all yesterday. He hardly blitzed at all. He just said, "Hey, I'm going to get it done with my front 4. I'm not." They're anticipating all these blitzes and all these, and we're not going that route. So, but on this particular play, he brought the corner off the defensive right edge. Okay. Yep. Luke Farrell whiffs on the block. The guy sacks the quarterback and strip sacks him, and the ball comes out.
Farrell fell on it.
Luke Farrell, at least, because he knew, it's like, dude, I'm going to be freaking, my ass is going to get cut here if I don't just, because I can't catch. If I can't block, what would you say you do here? It's suddenly Office Space. So he gives up the cornerback blitz, sack, strip, fumble. Then he falls on the football. Okay. So then you're like, okay, well, Farrell can't do what he's supposed to do, but at least he hustled and he fell on the football. And there was some desperation too on that. But the next play is 2nd and 15. Jones, who has just been sacked and fumbled and is buried deep within his own territory because his special teams unit's horse shit, hits Kendrick Bourne on a 56-yard fucking amazing pass play that was absolutely incredible. And the next play, they're on the 33-yard line. And it's like, whoa, that's the game in a nutshell. It's like, Mac Jones and Bourne have a great connection. Mac Jones is playing behind a crappy line, but still playing well. But you've got guys who were signed in the offseason to do particular jobs who can't do them. You have players that were traded for to do a particular job that can't do them. So you're horrible on special teams. You're bad on the offensive line. You're blocking tight end, can't block. And still, Jones was making it happen in the midst of it. So, I mean, it's a very frustrating thing, I'm sure, but this team overall is not a very good team. At one point, Tony Romo was like, this 4-1 team, I mean, these guys were sucking up to Shanahan so ferociously because it was like, oh my God, this team's 4-1? Really?
Yeah,
this team?
They've held this together in a little bit of an illusion. This is spackle and duct tape to get you to 4-2. They're probably a more likely candidate for 2-4, but you don't have to apologize for winning games. And I'll tell you, there were a couple times yesterday where I thought, oh my God, the breaks in the universe are actually going to still put the 49ers into the win column today. When Tampa missed its field goal, I thought this is still a one possession game. Yeah.
Tampa tried to give it to him.
Larry, in your entire
How about
life,
the challenge on the Mac Jones where the shin was down? There were 4 or 5 breaks that went in the Niners' favor.
Even as you're telling me the shin is down, I'm looking at the whole thing and I'm like, well, it is too close to reverse it. You get this is the definition of the call on the field stands. It is that close. And then it went the 49ers' way. I could not believe it. Then, unfortunately, with every step forward they took, they would take their own 2 steps back by giving up another sack, giving up another pressure. See Christian McCaffrey be used for a total throwaway down on a carry that goes nowhere. Again, can Brian Robinson Jr. get a few of those carries that are going nowhere? Or do you really want Christian to touch the ball 600 times this year?
And it's like, it's not working. I mean, at halftime, the Niners were down 20-16. Mac Jones in the first half, I mean, it was the most amazing first half I've ever seen. He completed nearly 70% of his passes for 200 yards in a half where he was sacked 3 times and hit 6 times.
And threw an interception.
And
fumbled the ball away.
But I mean, you're talking about a guy who is completing almost 70% of his passes, and Tampa at this point is running for 5.5 yards a carry, and the Niners are running for 2.9 a carry.
Yep.
2.9 a carry. Where would the Niners be without Eddie Pinheiro? They'd be cooked.
Imagine Absolutely if that was Jake Moody out there. Just wide writing everything.
And I'm not going to sit there and, I'm sure the media this week is going to make this like, can Tatum Bethune stand up? It's like, don't even go there. Don't even bother with that. Well, but Tatum Bethune is not the problem. Tatum Bethune is going to be fine. Nick Martin's going to be fine. It's not about those guys at all.
Well, you said, let the kids cook. And there's a part of me that says, all right, so there's 2 things you can do here. You can dance with the girl that you brung, and this is your team, and your team's on the field, and you don't get super aggressive here at the trade deadline. And if you do that, fine. You're probably not winning the Super Bowl. But if you make that big trade, you're still probably not winning the Super Bowl based on the 2 devastating injuries. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know, man.
Well, it's because you don't know who else is going down. I mean, there's too much.
Yet.
There's too many games between now and then. If there was 3 games between now and if it was 1 game until the end of the year or 5 games, but right. You got a ton of games.
11.
I mean, you're 2 months away from your bye week. Think about that for a second. 2 months away from your bye week. By the way, on that interception that you're talking about, that Mac Jones threw, let's go through that play for a second. 3rd and 4 from the 22. You had Tampa in a looked like a single high kind of a look, and Bowles fooled Mac Jones real simple. Jones thought he had Bourne in the flat for a real easy pitch and catch, easy pass play, but Bowles had the outside corner. Kindle Vildor peel off of CMC, right, and had the deep safety rotate over to defend CMC. And we talked about this in the pregame. We talked about this last week. Bowles is going to try to fool Mac Jones, show him one look at the snap, rotate quickly into something else after the snap. And that's exactly what happened. The corner peels off CMC. Bourne, I think, probably ran the wrong route. Yeah, it was a miscommunication because later Bourne said on the sideline, hey, man, that was my fault.
It looked like a bad throw on the wrong route.
Right. But, I mean, basically it was a miscommunication between Jones and Bourne, and Vildor jumped the pass to Bourne, intercepted it, and would have had a pick 6 if he could have stayed on his feet. And then Bourne, I guess they went to the commercial. Bourne said that on the sideline that the first interception was on him, that he and Jones were not on the same page, that he shouldn't have cut back. He should have kept running his route. It was an obvious miscommunication. That's what happens when you have to make split decisions. And guys like Todd Bowles have made a career in the NFL out of kind of, fooling quarterbacks, and he fooled the Niners there. So, immediately they're in a 7-0 hole because they can't. But I mean, they couldn't stop the run at all in the first half. I mean, there was many, positions in my notes where I'm looking at there going, this, White should have been held to a 2-yard run. Instead, he got 10. So, there were a lot of things that went wrong yesterday.
There are way too many. And this has been, kind of the theme of the entire year. There's way too many 3-yard runs that turn into 7-yard gains.
Oh, I mean, yesterday, they were doing a better job against the run until yesterday. But it wasn't about Fred going out, by the way. If they were doing a horrible job against the run when Fred was in there. And now you've got this gruesome long-term injury, and he got rolled up on from behind, and it blew out the ankle severely.
And Jair Brown and by the way,
but he didn't, Jair Brown didn't do anything.
Football. He's not responsible for it all. What happened? That's the thing. People complain about these mysterious injuries. There's no mystery as to what happened to Fred. We all saw it.
I mean, don't blame Jair Brown. I mean,
who's the Niner who stepped on Eddie Piñeiro's foot?
Austin Pleasance.
Austin Pleasance should be cut. Hey, come on, Austin. You're killing this team. You cannot step on Eddie Piñeiro.
Yeah.
This can't happen. Thomas Morstead had to make a tackle in this game, too. Came up a little gimpy. The 49ers got their special. I don't know, Larry. There's just some ominous signs that say it might not be your year. Having said that, they're in first place and they're 4-2. And I think they're going to go to 5-2 after a win against the Falcons on Sunday Night Football.
But they've got some fundamental flaws. I mean, they can't run at all. And then in the red zone, they really can't run. And because they can't run, the 49ers are 28th in the NFL in red zone touchdown percentage. So you're settling for field goals when other teams are getting touchdowns. And it's just, I love Eddie Piñeiro, but the fact of the matter is that he's a big portion of their offense.
When we get into the offseason, that's when we can talk about how to fix this football team. I don't think there's really any fix here, especially if you're saying you're not reinvesting in this season by trading away future assets of draft picks. So, I mean, look, it's probably not going to go where you wanted it to go, but there's still an awful lot of this journey left. In the vacuum of a football game, somehow by hook or crook, I still think the 49ers are going to have a puncher's chance and be favored more often than not in every single football game that they play in for the remainder of this season. If you're only happy with the Super Bowl, I think you're going to be unhappy for the entire year. I don't think they're Super Bowl good, but they're still playoff good. They're going to the playoffs. I think they are. So, maybe sports happens. Maybe something, and Tatum Bethune by the end of this year is, we're talking about this guy being an emerging middle linebacker that you can be really proud of. Maybe Diamador Lenore has taken over the defensive player of the year buzz from Fred Warner and Nick Bosa, who ain't going to be playing any more defense this year. Maybe Alfred Collins and CJ West continue to develop. Maybe George Kittle's presence alone gets this offensive line to behave better. Maybe. By the way, maybes and 275 will get you on Muni. You know what I mean? Like this what I'm saying, I understand. It's empty and it's worthless, but it's true. There is football to be played. As bad as they are, they remain in these football games against other teams, whatever condition they're in, healthy, unhealthy, winning, losing. The Niners are in all of the games that they are in. They've won more than they've lost. They're in first place. We have not gone trick-or-treating. Don't tell me it's over. This is the beginning of football season, not the end, not even the middle. So take your shots.
You're a running football team that can't run.
You're a running football team that can't run. You got an offensive mastermind who has no offensive players to run his mastermind offense. You have no protection. It's not good. First place. It really doesn't make much sense. It really doesn't make much sense. There's the corrections that this team needs, the upgrades that it needs are now unavailable to them. They will have a window to fix these obvious problems that we've been talking about for years when this season ends and they're into free agency and the draft. But you are who you are right now. Like Gene Hackman and Hoosiers, your team is on the floor. This is who you are. So this is who you're going to war with. It is a war of attrition. Attrition is kicking your ass right now if you're the San Francisco 49ers. Hopefully attrition will start taking a bite out of the Rams, a bite out of the Seahawks. Hopefully attrition will keep biting the Eagles. Hopefully attrition works for you. It's working against you in almost comical ways.
There's a lot of different things, a lot of different ways to look at this. I mean, on one hand, they got a lot of flaws. I think one thing that I would love to see is I feel like the 49ers made one evaluation and they're basing it on the evaluation where everybody else is evaluating every day and they're making consistent evaluations. It's like if you're making evaluations and you're not good at a certain spot, then there's too many sacred cows here. Everybody's too fucking close. I'm really sick of it. It's like you can't run. Your offensive line's obviously horse shit. You're gaslighting us, telling us it's fine. Well, guess what? The joke's on you, motherfucker, because when you can't run and can't play and can't win, and then guess what? It ain't, it's not my fault. It's not Damon's fault. It's not the fans' fault. You wanted to go with these guys. And it's like other teams, it's like if you don't, other years and we've been watching Niner football for years. There have been years where they didn't have it right. And then guess what? They dumped some guys and went, bottom surfing and tried to get better, and they found a couple players along the way. And it's like, but if you never go through that exercise, if you're just going to sit there and say, well, Brendel's this and, this and that, and Pooney's that, and Williams is this, and, everything's fine, everything's hunky-dory, we love it. Well, then, it's on you. It's on you. I want to see other moves. I want to see them If they've got a center that's old that isn't producing, then I want to see them go find some good young center on a practice squad that they like, bring them in and coach them up. I don't want to see them stay with these guys who are failing.
Up? How come there is no coaching up? A player either arrives and he is who he is, and he either gets hurt and no shot, or he stays healthy and gets a shot. Who is the player that is really getting better under this current coaching staff?
I mean, Pooney hasn't. Jair Brown hasn't.
I think Diamador Lenore, but he might be that good and unique at it.
Not very many. There's as many players have regressed as have improved.
Yeah, look, maybe
it's just very frustrating. The whole thing's very frustrating because it's like
Larry. So what are we talking about here? Is it time to get rid of John Lynch?
I'm just thinking it's time to have a new set of eyes on their personnel because it's too much of the same thing all the time. It's like, we like these guys. Okay, but it's not working and you're not adjusting.
Right. You like
how many weeks do you want to go with running your the plan sucks. We're going to invest a ton of money in our awesome running back, and then we're going to let him run into a wall. And we're going to get a backup running back, but we're never going to use them. Yeah. And then we're going to get two quarterbacks that we really believe in, but we're not going to protect them. And we're going to give one of them $265 million, but we're still not going to invest in our offensive line. And it's like, what this plan? This plan is just so faulty on so many levels. And then show me the guy that you unearth. I want to see you unearth some. If you really know personnel, then go find some guys. Jesus. The Rams lost Aaron Donald, and in 2 drafts replaced their entire line, and now their line's way better and younger than yours. And they had Aaron Donald, and he retired.
They're not even talking about him.
They were at a standstill. They were literally at the beginning. And in 2 drafts, they draft 1 tackle, 1 end, 1 tackle, 1 end. All of a sudden, they've got a way better defensive line than you do, and they did it with 4 picks. Right, where you're investing 7 picks and Kinlaw and Drake Jackson and all these busts. And it's like, it's hard to build a football team when you're 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. It's like, it's just very frustrating. You needed an offensive lineman badly. Did you draft one? No, you didn't. And now your offensive line is not good. Who could see that coming? So I'd like to see a different. By
the way, I saw it coming.
There's too many guys.
I saw it coming.
Too many guys that they used to like, they still like. And it makes me wonder, do you guys have a handle on the personnel in the league? It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it, because it looks like you evaluated, guys 3 years ago, and you're just going off those evaluations. You keep re-signing guys that you cut.
I want to keep going. My mind keeps jogging back to an off-brand comment from Willie Snead. Do you remember when he was talking, saying, hey, man, Kyle's just got his sacred cows and he's got his favorites. And if you ain't one of his favorites, you're just not getting the reps you need in practice, and you're certainly not getting snaps from scrimmage in a game. Is he wrong?
Oh, Damon, they've reacquired about 9 different players this summer that they had previously. Is that because there are no other people in the world? No. It's because they made an evaluation 3 years ago and they don't want to make a new evaluation now. It's like, keep evaluating. And then stop being so close to the players.
If Kendrick Bourne,
the players love these guys and they love their players. It's a gigantic kumbaya, except there's no fucking Super Bowl rings. I like everybody to like everybody, but where's the fucking ring? I'd rather have people who hated everybody. I'd rather have the Bronx Zoo Yankees from the 70s who hated every motherfucker in that room, hated each other, but they won fucking rings.
Right. I'd rather have Charles Haley peeing on desks with rings than not.
And this fucking kumbaya, everybody loves each other. We're all in lockstep, and we can't fucking win shit. So Larry, I'm a little bit done with the bring back this guy, bring back that guy, bring back this guy. That's lazy. I know so you're bringing in guys that you know can't play. How about the old days of bringing in guys that you hoped could?
All I know is that I think you set an F-word record on this morning. That's how things went for the 49ers yesterday. That's how things went for the Niners yesterday. It was a rough one. It really was. And even in a game where the devastating Fred Warner injury defined everything that was happening, gosh, they were still in that game. It was a one-possession game until it wasn't very, very late. And that's what makes this all so maddening. As bad as they are, as incomplete as they are, as not working as it clearly is, as that needs to improve as much as it does, they're still right there. To the point, they're 4-2 and they're in first place. It's nuts. They've got a record that doesn't match the stress that comes with covering or watching the San Francisco 49ers. Might I suggest, if you'd like a smoother football existence, just come hop on that Indiana bandwagon right now, baby. Come on, hop on that Indiana bandwagon.
Beat Oregon on the road.
Unbelievable, Larry. I'm telling you, Saturday, I knew happiness. I knew happiness on Saturday. And then, of course, the Cubs lose a game 5. But, so right when you're happy, Damon, we're going to punch you in the dick. Just always a bag of nickels in the crotch, no matter what. But
it could be worse. You could be the Giants and have no.
Larry, it could be worse. I could have been St. Ignatius. You got pummeled over the weekend, brother. Reardon 54, St. Ignatius 0, I believe. I mean,
unfortunately, the thing about that though is that the guy from Reardon who's on that team that won 54-0 will be sitting somewhere, talking about that for the next 20 years when the rest of us SI Wildcats are getting on with our lives. No, it was a good win. Good win for Reardon. Good win for Reardon.
Yes.
You hate us because you ain't us. Reardon's a great school. It's a great school to go to. Everybody's got to have a second choice if they don't get into SI. So there you go. No, I'm just joking. Way to go, Reardon. Way to go, Crusaders. Way to go, Bob Sargent. Way to go.
I can't believe Fuji Simeon isn't putting it on you hard, or maybe he is. Let's open. You know what, Larry? Let's open up
22. Some people are pissed at me this morning because I'm salty. Other people are enjoying it because I'm salty. But bottom line is, the plan sucks. It's like the plan sucks. That's really the bottom line. Their plan sucks.
Well, you're
driving cross country, but nobody filled up the gas tank. You're driving cross country, but nobody changed the tires. You're driving cross country, but nobody saw that you have, a radiator hose that's leaking. You're not prepared for this trip, and you're trying to drive cross country, and now your car is falling apart. And your people on the side of the road are mad at me because I'm noticing it. I'm noticing that their horseshit car is falling apart.
Well, here's the thing. It didn't take the journey starting for us to say, hey, check that tire pressure before you go. A lot of the things that we have talked about for a couple of off seasons, unfortunately, are back here coming home to roost. When your offensive line is the other thing you get to in terms of team building, you are doing it the wrong way. It's just that simple. There are some football truths, as much as there is gravity that holds us all, there's just football truths. And the 49ers are trying to get away without acknowledging a football truth. This is a trench warfare game. They are getting their asses kicked in the trench. And it's unfortunate because even the understudies playing all around the trenches are doing their requisite jobs to move the football. The line of scrimmage is not doing enough to move the football. It's just,
and it's really not just about the offensive line. It's a bigger discussion. The 49ers have too many people involved in their evaluation process. They've got the coaching staff involved. They've got Shanahan involved. They've got Lynch involved. They've got the scouts involved. They've got the research and development people involved. It's hard to get momentum and when you have that many cooks in the kitchen. I realize it's pro football, and guess what? Picking all these players is fucking fun, and everybody wants their hand in on it. But that's not how the best teams in history have been built. The 85 Bears were built by Jim Finks. Okay? Jim Finks.
Hey, you want to know what Baltimore did? Who made the decisions there? His name was Ozzie. That's it.
Ozzie Newsome, and now Eric Acosta. Nobody does it alone. I'm not saying they should that it's a singular process. You see, these are team processes. I get that. But you've got to have a genius evaluator who sees through all of it and can make that final call. They're building consensus. And when you're building consensus, guess what? Sometimes it works. And then other times it doesn't.
Right.
And that's exactly what their drafts look like. Hit, terrible miss. Hit, terrible miss. I mean, miss, terrible miss. Incredible hit. Because they're all over the place because they've got this guy's involved and that guy's involved and she's involved and he's involved and this whole thing's involved and that's whole. And what are the chances that we can get all these pieces aligned perfectly on draft day to get the right guy? It happens, but then when you have that many people, when you add that many factors to your equation, something's going to bog down. If you don't believe me, go put a 7-team parlay out there and watch. 5 of those games are coming in for fun. And then there'll be a couple games that are like, well, what happened there? Yeah, your parlay got ruined by one thing that you couldn't foresee.
You know who got me yesterday? The one thing that I was thinking about, I'm going to build other parlay. I'm going to play like 3 or 4 different parlays out here, but all of them are going to include Igbokwe going for 60 receiving yards. The one thing that I was sure of is the one thing that didn't happen. I had Demarcus Robinson over 22 and a hook. I had Kendrick Bourne with 4.5 receptions. I took the more. But freaking Igbokwe is the guy that did me in yesterday. Real quick though, Dord up here is saying, but we're 4-2. That's gaslighting, Damon. No. You don't even know what gaslighting means. 4-2 is actually the only clearly defined, undebatable, nothing to negotiate, definitive aspect of the 49ers. Now we can talk about how they got there. You don't like that they're not supposed to be there, blah, 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 blah. They are 4-2. 4-2 is the single most real cornerstone reality that there is in this football season.
Yeah, I mean, that's not gaslighting. Gaslighting is telling us that Jake Brendel, who you just watch get beat, is really good because PFF's got some stat that says he's good.
Yeah. No, 4-2. 4-2 is what they are.
Yeah.
Whether you want to be or not, whether you like it or not, whether you want to complain about it or not, celebrate it or shit on it, they're 4-2 and in first place and positioned in the win-loss column better than 80% of the teams in the NFL right now.
We got this one too on there. We've got Tyler Black.
Tyler Lightning Black, right? Is that
Tyler
the guy?
Black. This is always a fun guy at a cocktail party. We're going to be okay. Don't worry.
He might be.
Wait a second. He's coming back with this one. The Aaron Rodgers. Relax.
Ooh, you should put a hyphen in there and spell it out. RELAX.
Relax. Oh, if that's all we needed to do is just relax.
Larry, are you breathing out your third eyelid? That's your problem.
Maybe I should just say that to Kyle. Hey, Kyle, you seem a little stressed. Why don't you just relax, bro?
Sky Moore, you fielding these punts at the 2-yard line? Just relax. Just relax, Sky.
Pooney's regressing. Hey, Firster, relax. Just relax.
Yeah.
There's a lot of chill pill West Coast people that are just like, hey, man, chill out. Everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right because our lives have nothing to do with this football team. It doesn't mean everything's going to be all right for this football team. Yes, I'm going to be just fine. Yes, Damon's going to be just fine. Yes, Tyler Black, you're going to be just fine. Doesn't mean the Niners are going to be just fine. The Niners are stopping by 4-2 on their way to much worse record than that. Probably
they're going to the playoffs.
We'll see. I mean,
we're talking about a playoff team. This team,
Damon, we're talking about a team whose quarterback is not mobile and has been hit 20 times. We're not talking about a playoff team. We're talking about a team that's going to be playing Adrian Martinez.
That guy ain't even going to be around anymore. Like, here we go. Back to Brock. Everything's going to be fine, Larry. Enjoy.
Because that's going to be awesome. Going back to the guy who can no longer run.
Oh, let's
behind a line that can no longer protect. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey!
I hear the people who are saying relax. Fine.
Where's
relax?
the
Let's just chill out.
Larry,
you know what? Why don't we just talk greatness? Let's just talk about what's great.
Larry,
Who's great?
Where's the Super Bowl?
Let's just be super positive.
Larry, where's the Super Bowl this year?
It's at Jed York's palace, I believe.
Oh, then relax. Relax.
Oh, yeah, we're here. We're hosting the Super Bowl.
The Niners are already got home field advantage in the Super Bowl. Dude,
as long as the NFL will crown a champion within 75 yards of my front door, I just should chill out.
Hey, you know what? The Kansas City Chiefs are good enough.
Whether it's my team or not.
The Kansas City Chiefs are good enough to play the first penalty-less football game in 70 years. If that is in the world, all you need to do is relax. Just go play like that. Go play just play perfect football like the Kansas City Chiefs play. You'll be fine.
SRSOS. Don't harsh my buzz, brah.
Yeah, there you go. Just spelling bra with an H. All right, Larry, let's get into these supers. We need to do it. By the way, I heard the first official 6-year-old, 4-year-old ripple above me. I'm giving us like 10 minutes here before this needs to be addressed.
Damon, I mean, have you heard of a juice box? Have you heard of a, I see people at church that just, as soon as their kid even squirms, they just say, here's a laptop. Just throw it. They just, here, take an iPad. So
Larry, here's what we got. We got hopefully have a nice day, and we're going to go out and we're going to hit some playgrounds here on this Columbus Day. The kids are off, so we're going to go around. I'm going to have a really fun day with my kids. I'm going to relax.
San Francisco you're taking them to a San Francisco public park?
We're going to go to some of the greatest playgrounds you've ever seen.
Give me one. Give me one. That's my city. I know all these playgrounds. I've coached, I've reffed, I've played at almost every park. Where are we going? Diamond Heights?
No, Larry, I'm a playground.
Try Diamond Heights. Diamond Heights is kind of nice little park.
I'm a playground sommelier. I can whatever your kids are in the mood for, I can recommend the perfect complimentary playground for you. I really am.
Hey, can I give you the spot that I just was amazed by? There's a spot over by the Golden Gate Bridge by Chrissy Field. They have redone that whole area called the something tops, the
tunnel tops.
Tunnel
Larry,
tops.
Okay, so your
tunnel tops is awesome.
Yeah,
I'd take him to the tunnel tops.
That was 3 years ago, Larry. The tunnel tops are so dumb. I mean, come on. It's like Screaming Eagle. Everyone knows about it now. Everyone knows about tunnel tops.
Anybody who knows anything knows the tunnel tops.
Tunnel tops. Next thing you're going to tell me that the French fries at McDonald's are good. Thanks a lot.
Look at this guy. Look at another guy here who's like, good grief. One loss and Larry is losing his mind. Good grief, calm down.
There was some things to not like in that football game. At least they're 4-2. Okay, so anyways, Larry, we're the sands of the hourglass are starting to run through the hourglass.
Right. You want to
these supers?
Here we go. Everybody, there's a lot of happy people, just happy. All right, here we go. Kyle L. Biggest positive is seeing what the next gen has. Yeah.
Okay.
Go young, if nothing else. Fuji Simeon, was the Mack second interception an overthrow or a bad decision? Refresh me on that one.
The second one was sort of in the middle of the field. It was a great catch.
It was fourth down.
Yeah.
It was a fourth down. It was basically a punt. He was going to throw that ball no matter what, whether he completed that or not. It was a fourth down. But that fourth down, wasn't that the same? Wasn't that one play after Pooney had the that fourth and one? Wasn't that fourth and six, Damon?
Was that the 4th and 6? The Pooney? That's the thing. It was 4th and 1. Pooney false started. I don't know. I'm blurring my Mac Jones turnovers.
I mean, I could go through my notes, but I don't know if
Please don't. Let's go.
I don't know if I want to. Oh, here it is. It was 4th and 6. The Niners were on the 33. He passed, went overthrown. Jamel Dean picked it off. And then Trent Williams had the personal foul for attacking Tyke Smith.
And this is where, it was like, hey, here you might want to just take the field goal, and that way you come on down and you score a touchdown to win. Because
why not take the field goal there, by the way? There was 6 minutes left in the game. It's 4th and 6 from the 33. If you kick the field goal there, you still need the touchdown later. You needed 2 scores unless you were getting the 2-point conversion.
Larry, I thought the 49ers should just run a play on 4th and 6.
You didn't want to see them kick the field goal?
No.
I was thinking field goal there. I really was. I was thinking field goal, onside kick, or field goal, kick it deep and play defense. I mean, if the Niners can't play defense for 5 minutes and 43 seconds, but other teams can play defense for a quarter of that amount of time. I mean, it's crazy. It's like they needed 2 scores there. They could have kicked the field goal. If they thought they had a great whatever, it's all.
What I'm watching across all levels of football, whether it be pro or college, is the coach that remains aggressive on 4th down is usually being rewarded. I think if you're asking me, what is the single biggest development in the sport of football, the way that the 3-point shot changed the sport of basketball, the thing that is changing football is 4th and short aggression and leaving your offense out there. That to me is something that every team needs to start embracing. Punting on 4th and short from anywhere around the 50 is a bitch move.
Stefan says thoughts on trading for Eric McCoy. Eric McCoy played at A&M. He's with the Saints. I don't see that. You can trade for a guard. You have a guard. I don't think I would.
Larry, I'm hearing chaos. I will be right back.
Okay,
I'm telling you. We got.
Tally Young says, "Can we trade JJ? Get him out of here." I would definitely listen to offers. If he's a free agent at the end of the year, he's battling with the coach. You got other receivers. It doesn't. I don't think a long-term extension's coming, but they love JJ, so maybe they don't mind that he's battling with the coach. Tommy Huxley, why was Tiggs starting? He can't tackle, he can't cover a toilet seat, and he's injured. And he injured Warner. Get this bum off the team. He didn't injure Warner. That was just in the scrum. It just happened to be his body, but I mean, it wasn't like he did something reckless on that play. There are guys. I mean, I thought Ken Norton did some reckless things back in the day that got Richard Dent hurt, that got Bryant Young hurt, and I thought Kenny Norton was a little out of control at times. But you can't blame Jair for that Warner injury. You just cannot. At least I'm not going to. I mean, if you want to, go ahead. I'm not going to. Joseph Ernberg, shouldn't be any high hopes for BA. Won't play at all. I mean, if they're looking at this the right way, they should shelve him for 26. Boxing fan times 4, trade for Mark Zeitler. Although O linemen don't get traded, also offense is going to have to carry the defense, have to find a way to run the ball. Okay, this is a guy who's either we're on the same wavelength or he heard my stream last night. This is my idea. I don't know who Mark Zeitler is. I think we're talking about Kevin Zeitler. Kevin Zeitler is with Tennessee. He's a really good veteran offensive lineman who's been good on a number of spots. The real reason the 49ers aren't very good is that their offensive line is not very good. That's where it starts. So if you want to really do anything at the trade deadline, you got to try to get your offensive line better. Now, I just said that, but I also know, and I've said it many times, that you can't really get offensive linemen in trades in the middle of the year. But Zeitler is a veteran who's on a team that's going nowhere with a rookie quarterback, and he is available. And that is the guy that I would go for. If I was John Lynch, I would trade for Kevin Zeitler. I would bench Connor Colby. I would play Kevin Zeitler at left guard.
Here's the thing. I know the
Titans
don't
run. They got to run.
I know the Titans aren't going anywhere, but why would they decide to not protect the number 1 pick in the draft?
It's because they're building. I mean, it's not that they're not going to try to protect him. It's that they're just building. And this is a 30-something-year-old center who's gonna, that's coveted, and you can probably get a decent pick for him. I think you're right. You're on one hand, you're right. I mean, I don't think but I mean, it's not linear like that. They're not. I think they're going to try. They're going to try to build through the draft. And they've got a veteran piece that other teams would want, and that is the piece that the Niners need.
Taking a starting center away from a rookie quarterback is a rough thing to do.
I hear you, but what I'm saying is doesn't matter what happens to them this year. I mean, why would any team trade anybody? I mean, why would any team trade any good young player? But it happens all the time because teams decide that this isn't our year, and Tennessee is one of them. And I just think a guy like Zeitler is exactly what the Niners need. What do they need? They need a big, tough, brawling, dependable guard that they were hoping it was Ben Barch, right? But he's hurt, that they can plug in for Connor Colby, so maybe you can run the ball better.
Hey,
it's like, do the Niners have a chance? Are the Niners done, or do they have a chance? It's October 13th. I would say they have a chance, but they only have a chance if they can start to run the ball better, protect their quarterback, keep their quarterback upright, and let their young defense come together. But you're not going to get your defense to come together if your quarterback's hurt, your running back's hurt, if you can't score points. So you got to have something to improve that offensive line, and I think Zeitler would be great. I think he's also a culture player. He's the kind of tough badass that they need on that offensive line.
Exactly the type of player that I don't think Tennessee is going to trade away from a quarter. Again, your rookie quarterback is getting his ass kicked.
Whether he comes here or not, he is going to be traded. I would say I'd say it's very, very likely Kevin Zeitler's traded. Tennessee is one of 2 or 3 teams that's going to back up the truck, if you believe the talk. Ben Diesel says if the 49ers do make a trade, it should be for a guard or a center. The O-line is in desperate need of an upgrade and has been ignored too long.
It has been.
No question. We got this one. Fuji Simeon, we missed Purdy's speed mobility yesterday. He doesn't have that mobility as much with that toe. Which is why he's not playing. Dale, we're going to talk about Trent getting trucked by a DB. I didn't see that. Did he get trucked by a DB? I mean, he's not talking about that brawl.
I think he's talking about the shove. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Trent Williams isn't who he used to be.
Yeah,
he's still good, but he's not great.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have a good day. He's going to have a bad day. D. Martinez, how much better would this team be if we went Tyler Booker at 11? Well, I don't know. Booker's having a pretty good year for Dallas for sure. How about if they went just a Mega Egbuka at 11? He would help. But I mean, they desperately need an offensive line. I mean that I hear what you're saying. PWS is Krug brainstorming trading veterans for draft picks reminds me of when Jerry Krause wanted to trade Pippen in the 90s for draft picks. LOL. They didn't, and it equals 3 rings. Oh yeah. Well, if the Niners are on the verge of 3 rings, that'd be one thing.
They're not on the verge of 3, Larry.
Yeah. Well, let's just say this: these are completely different sports, rules, and points in history for the 2 teams. And I would beg to say that's
it's hard to compare what makes a basketball team go to a football team. So
right. I mean, trading Scottie Pippen, your second best player, is a totally different situation than me saying, hey, if somebody wants one of your veteran players that isn't very good or is not going to be good in a year or two, that you should consider it. Stephen Draper, terrible center equals bad guards.
Yeah. I mean, look, Pooney got beat to the inside, Brendel's direction, more often than he gets beat to the outside. I am noticing that, but Pooney does have to get better.
PWS, how about JJ laying defenders out? LOL.
You know what? Juwan Jennings did pick up that personal foul. I didn't mind it at all. I mean, go ahead, play football.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I mean, you can block 1 yard downfield. What was he, 1.5 yards?
Yeah.
I mean, really? Really?
If it hadn't have been as violent, I don't think the flag comes out.
He smoked Jacob Parrish. PWS is who stepped on Eddie's foot. LOL. Open investigation.
Austin Pleasance. Come on, Austin.
Austin Pleasance with his, come on. Seriously.
Look at it this way. The problem is bad footwork for him. That's his worst step of the year.
Yeah. I mean, you think that's people are mad at Austin Pleasance today. Wait until Austin Pleasance has to play. When Austin Pleasance has to play and he is getting beat like a turnstile, people are going to lose their you-know-what. Oli Chaos is Larry dunking on PFF. Vindication, Damon, LOL.
Thank you. We did argue about the validity of Pro Football Focus grades about a year ago. I'm glad you're now over on my side of the world.
I'm not saying that they're completely worthless. I'm just saying that there are certain of them that are. Isaac Perez, if they had kept the 2 firsts from the Lance trade,
could have been 2 offensive linemen, no doubt.
How about if they just didn't select Lance? LD Studios, did you forget Pooney's injury? That's why. I mean,
maybe. I mean, it's part of it, but we're seeing a few weeks in a row of him playing in the wrong. I mean, look, I still really like the player. I'm not coming off of that, but it's got to get better. And he'd be the first to tell you.
The hardest thing he hit yesterday was the ground and his helmet in disgust at his mistakes. How about you hit defensive linemen as hard as you hit yourself and your helmet and the ground for fucking up?
Right. How about Vita Vera?
Yeah, but let's drive some of that hate towards, I don't know, the defensive line. That'll be my thought. Joseph Ernberg, is this the worst injury riddled season of the Kyle era?
No, it probably isn't yet, but I mean, we've still got 11 weeks out there, so we are tracking, sure, without a doubt.
Yeah, it's going there. Maitland, Larry, what do you think is contributing to the Niners' 12-game streak of no interceptions, longest in NFL history? Not enough pass rush up front. They don't have much pass rush. The 49ers lost Nick Bosa 2 games ago. They've hit the quarterback twice in those 2 games. Their quarterback has been hit 20 times. They're not getting enough pass rush. They don't have enough pass rush.
Right.
This has been a consistent theme.
I mean, here's the thing. You are 100% right. It's also a little bit of bad luck. I mean,
no, it's not bad luck. It's they don't have pass rush and they play zone. If you play man, you're going to get a few more. I shouldn't say that. Some teams pick off a lot of passes in zone. Well, but the Niners do play a lot of zone. And maybe, and they also went for, now they've got some young players and some older players. Right. But they went for, for years they had Jimmy Ward and Tart. Those guys had terrible ball skills. Then they changed their mindset and said, hey, we need better ball skill safeties. And they brought in, Gibson, Tayshaun Gibson, Talanoa Hufanga. Then they got picks, but then those guys couldn't cover. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, we need better athletes. So now you got better athletes and Marquise Siegel, but they don't pick off passes because they're new and they're just trying to not get burned. They're not even picking off passes is like DB 2.0. And they've got some guys who are more at DB 1.0.
I think that's fair.
And there's no pass rush.
And again, just, constantly the ball that is tipped in the air and falls into the hands of the defender that the 49ers are playing falls to the ground when it's the 49ers playing defense. Like there is an element of bad luck to it. I don't think that they're as bad as the defense that was the first defense that didn't have a pick 13 games in a row. I mean, who are they? So I don't know. It just sucks. You're going to want to force a turnover at some point in time this year with an interception. I highly recommend it. They're great.
Yeah. Fuji Simeon, what is the cause for Pooney's regression and mental errors?
I think some physical, some mental. It's tough out there. Tough opponent.
It's hard to really say. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why he's regressed. I'm not sure. Maybe he's reading his own press clippings. Maybe he's not working as hard as he should. Maybe it's nothing to do with that. I don't know. Joseph Ernberg says, feels like 2024 all over again, but with a better record. Yeah, I mean, they have a good record, but, what's it going to mean? Greg Arjazy, remember, Kyle is not and never will be Bill Walsh.
Hey, man, Kyle, the GM, is to be debated. Kyle, the coach, is having a very good year, whether you want to admit it or not. Kyle is moving the football without an offensive line, a quarterback, or wide receivers, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is, at the end of the day, he's responsible for all of it. He's the head coach. Every guy in that organization is there because he wanted him there. Fuji Simeon says, sing it with me, Larry, the alma mater. All hail to Reardon High School. Hail alma mater. Hail alma mater. Hail all hail.
What do you sing that to? Does that go to to the tune of the Muffin Man? What you got to give me a rhythm to sing it to? What does it go to?
Seriously. Red and blue will all be true. We'll wave our banners to the sky. Oh, red and blue will fight for you. We'll fight for St. Ignatius High. And victory will be our goal. And we will reach it if we try. We're going to fight. We're going to fight. We're going to fight, 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 fight. What was the score this weekend?
58-0. You should stop singing right now.
Maybe we need to fight a little bit more.
Would you like to talk about the Indiana fight song? Because I feel that I could sing that and totally get away with it, and everyone could just tap along because that's how real that shit is.
Oh, no.
All right, let's go.
Fuji Simeon, college coach is getting fired next. Next up, NFL. Does McDaniel get fired midseason? Maybe if the IU job is available, McDaniel can go there, right, Damon?
Signetti's staying. We signed him to an 8-year extension. Everyone in Happy Valley can go fuck themselves. He's not going anywhere. That guy stays.
Joseph Ernberg, crybaby. I'll tell you who should stay in Indiana is whoever's picking their talent. because they have a lot of great talent. Wait until the draft comes around and Pons and Mikhail Kamara and Surratt and all these guys.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of Mendoza. There's a lot of guys leaving.
I'm not a Mendoza guy myself.
Hey, you know what? He's good enough. He's good enough, man.
I don't know about Mendoza. Joseph Ernberg, crybaby Trent got dropped by that DB, baby man. Okay, I don't know. I don't think you'd be saying that to him if you were here. Jerry Schetzel, Freddie's injury hurts the worst. Maybe the curse of leaving the city is real. We need to move back. Build the stadium on Alcatraz. That would be awesome. Oh, yeah. I'm sure the traffic out of Alcatraz would be just awesome. Could you imagine? I'm stuck on Alcatraz. I've been here since Sunday.
Yeah. How'd you get home? Well, I had to swim. There
were sharks. Tyler Black. Larry, I was joking. Giving an example of gaslighting to put it into context. Love the show.
Okay. Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler.
I do look at it this way. Levi Stadium might be built on Indian burial ground. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying that.
Maybe on purpose so they can make more money on it. Fuji Simeon says Eddie Pinheiro creeping up as important 49er player. Great. Awesome.
Eddie Pinheiro is money, man.
That's been fantastic. Trade him to a team where he can win a championship. Bill Kennedy, who is the best tackle in college football? The Utah guys. The Utah tackles, there's two of them. They're both considered really, really good. I would say Caden Proctor, probably. Alabama is probably the highest rated offensive tackle left. I like the Auburn kid pretty much. I like the Iowa kid, Dunker, I think his name is. So we'll see. But it's a good tackle draft for sure. Dale says, sad that we are going 9-8. Everyone knows it.
Look, I don't think they're only winning 4 games from here on out. I really don't. Or
they're going to wind up with a 10 or 11 win season. They're going to the playoffs, and they're going to have a chance to do something in the playoffs. It's just a matter of what can they do to stabilize their team.
I'll give you that.
I would say that's the question at the trade deadline. It's not about what can they get to get over the top. I don't think they can get over the top, but what can they get to stabilize their team? And I would say a deal with Tennessee that could bring. I would say this is what I would like to do if it was me. This is the trade I'm making. I'm calling Tennessee and I'm saying, hey, here's our 4th round pick. We want a couple players. We want Kevin Zeitler. We'll plug him in at guard. We'll take either Arden Key or Draymond Jones, whoever of the two you want to throw us. And we'll take Tyjae Spears, the running back, and we'll throw you a pick or picks and Garendo. And then you at least have an offensive lineman who potentially can help your line run the ball better. You've got another back that you potentially can throw in the mix to help you run it better. And you add one piece to your defensive front that can help speed up the opposing quarterbacks. You don't trade your first, you don't trade your second, you don't trade your third, you don't make that kind of draft altering type deal. You trade some day 2 pick or 2 plus a Garendo and see if you can get those 3 players and see if you can start running the ball more effectively. If you can start running the ball more effectively, now I think you can win with Brock or with Mack. And I think you can play more complementary football by running the ball, dominating time of possession, keeping your young defense on the sideline. To me, this is the best plan. I know the plan, a lot of people want to get a big-time pass rusher, and I get that. But I think if you really want to help your defense, the best thing you can do is you gotta help your offense run the ball.
Time of possession.
Yeah, and one more back who is a free agent at the end of the year and a good veteran guard might be able to, and then the return of Kittle. Those 3 factors might be able to get your run game going. If you can get the run game going, you can get back to offensive balance. If you can get back to offensive balance, now you're not getting so many hits on your quarterback, and maybe you've got a healthy quarterback come playoff time. And I don't know about you, but I like the way Mac Jones is playing. And I know I like Brock Purdy as a quarterback, but it's not going to work with no running game and no offensive balance.
I would like to see
that's where I would start.
I'd like to see this team see what it's got in Drake Nugent or Zakel or Barch. Like, can you try something internally Can you try something internally to fix your offensive line before you make this trade? No, by the way, this is the week to do it because here's your week before the trade deadline. So, like, now's the time to see what you got in-house and then look around. I mean,
Dale says, what teams want a Garendo for a pack of bubblegum? No, there's no question. The same reason that the Niners were intrigued to draft Garendo is the same reason that somebody may be intrigued to trade for Garendo, because it's rare to find somebody that big and that fast. That's it. But I know he can't play dead, and the Niners should know he can't play dead. And if you're scouting, you should know that he can't play dead. So I don't think they're going to get anything for Garendo. But
I mean, I don't know what he can do as a player because he doesn't play. They don't allow him to play. So I think there's a better player than unplayable in Isaac Garendo, and I sure wish the 49ers had been able to find that player because they could have used some help.
By the way, as we're sitting here, it just came across the Titans fired their head coach, Brian Callahan, today.
Oh, so Brian's first off the board. Congratulations to Mike McDaniel for winning at least one contest this year. He's not going to be the first coach fired.
There you go. All right, that's going to do it for us. We should probably finish with the big finish, which is, Damon, what do you expect to see? Well, actually, we should tell people, and I'm negligent in doing this, but we should tell people that we are brought to you
by.
Well, yeah, we are brought to you by Sleeper. On the Krug Show side and on Damon's side as well. But we're both brought to you by Sleeper. We should shout out our sponsors. Sleeper is bringing you the entire season on the Krug Show, fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chats, season-long leagues, and of course, Sleeper picks for daily fantasy. Use the promo code Larry. Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions apply. We're also brought to you over here by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And this show is brought to you by Habas Law. Today's show is sponsored by Habas Law. For more than 40 years, Omar Habas and his son Tarek have been standing up for people right here in Northern California. They're fierce, relentless attorneys. They don't back down until justice is done. So when you're injured, the insurance companies, they tuck tail, and we're not going to pay you because of this. We're not going to pay you because of that. But Habas Law uproots them out of that stance. They know the playbook because they've been battling insurance companies for decades and winning. So if you're in need of someone in your corner, get the firm the insurance companies hope you never call, and that's Habas Law. They're going to fight to make it right. Visit them on the web at habaslaw.com, HABBAS law.com, 1-800-INJURED. We'll finish with this, Damon. The Niners are 4-2. They now get a Sunday night national TV game against the Atlanta Falcons. Where do you think this thing goes from here next week?
I think it goes into the win column. I think Purdy, Kittle, Pearsall come back. You get more from this offense than they just got in Tampa. I think Robert Saleh's got to get into the lab and figure out a way now to play without his two best defenders. It's a huge week for John Lynch and his due diligence. But I think you're 5-2 when Sunday goes to bed. And that's a pretty good place to be. Even though you've lost your two best players on one side of the ball, it's still a better situation than a lot of NFL teams are in. So, look, there is a job to do. It might be more joyless than before, and you might not be handed that ultimate reward at the end of the year, but there is still a job to do. There's 11 football games. 11 football games might as well be a lifetime. Anything can happen. It's wide open. We haven't even seen the real 49ers, and unfortunately, because of those injuries, we won't meet the real 49ers this year, but we still haven't even seen them. They're going to get better offensively. Hopefully they can cobble it together defensively. I think you're looking at an 11-win football team. It's going to host a playoff game. I still think that.
You got them at 11 wins.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Now,
let me just see real quick. They've got 4 wins right now.
If on Monday night Christian McCaffrey's done, I mean, that's officially it. Then we can say, yeah, okay, go ahead, trade it all. It's over. But I still think you got one of the best players in football. You're getting a Hall of Fame tight end. You're going to get better. I think they're going to get better offensively before this year gets finished.
I think 11 wins is pretty reasonable. I mean, I said 11-6 at the beginning of the year. I think I hedged after watching all the injuries to 10-7. I think that was my prediction coming into the year, 10-7, and I would stay with that. I think 10-7, 11-6 is still very, very reasonable. Why? They got 4 wins right now. Okay, I think they get 1 in the next 2 weeks between Atlanta and Houston. That's 5. I think they beat the New York Giants. That's 6. I think I'll say they split with the Rams, but I say they beat Arizona. That's 7.
Hey, that Carolina game looks a little tougher today than it did 2 weeks ago, didn't it?
Well, I'll say Carolina's 8, Cleveland's 9, Tennessee's 10, and the Bears are probably 11. I mean, there's some losses in there. They may lose to Seattle. They may lose to Indy. They may lose to the Rams. They may lose to Atlanta or Houston. But I think, they got 6 or 7 more wins in them, despite the fact that they're a mash unit and they have a terrible, they can't run the line. They can't run the ball. Their offensive line's not good. I mean, seriously, it's simple as that. You can't run the ball, and your quarterback's taking 20 hits in 2 weeks. It's not good.
I think this team is going to figure out a way to keep pulling the rabbit out of the hat. But when the playoffs come around and you don't have your best soldiers suited up, that's when reality, kind of hits you in the face with a shaving cream pie. So get to the playoffs, take your chances in the vacuum of any one football game. It is as wide open as possible. Let's see what happens. But yeah, the long odds of winning a Super Bowl got longer with Fred Warner's injury. That's for sure. There's no pretending that it didn't.
I believe we hit all these, but let's just, I don't think we hit these last 2.
Eat it, Ike's, drink at the Dubliner. That's the last thing I want to say here.
Dale says, what teams want a Garendo for a pack of bubble gum? Harry Johnson says, can anybody at Pig and a Pickle play center? And then Harry
brisket.
Johnson, can anybody at Pig and a Pickle play center?
Put a helmet on a brisket. Maybe guys will snack on it. Just distract them with delicious brisket.
That's going to do it for us today. Have a great rest of your Monday. I'm probably going to watch this game again.
By the way, Stefan says, with 0 injuries, what were the Super Bowl chances? I mean, like 25%. I mean, they had as good a shot as any team to maybe do it if they had been totally healthy. And they were
they still have a shot, but it's just that it's not trending in the right direction. Right. Everybody's getting hurt. You're losing great players every week. You can't protect your quarterback. You have a great running back, but your great running back you can't open holes for. So you have no running game. And then because you have no running game, you have no offensive balance. And because you have no offensive balance, now your offensive line now you're passing 40 times a game, but you're passing 40 times a game behind a line that can't protect. Now your quarterbacks are going down. And now, it's like.
Right. And in order to win, you're going to have to play perfect. You're going to have to play a clean game, 4 quarters all the time. That's a big ask. Larry, I know there's never a dull moment around here, though. Seriously, it is another great wake up. A huge audience came and watched us today. It is a holiday, so hopefully a lot of people got the day off. Again, I got 2 kids I got to go corral. Thank you, Krug. Good stuff, man. Yep. Appreciate everyone being here. Please hit like and subscribe on your way out. The support has been incredible. Having a really good week of views here on Damon Bruce Plus. So thanks to everyone for watching, liking, subscribing, hitting notify. And Krug, thanks to you and Kevin as always. We'll do it again on Friday and a big Sunday night football game coming up against the Falcons.
Have a great rest of your Monday. I'm going to watch this game again. I may stream later today with Grant. I will not be streaming tonight with Dieter. Dieter's not on tonight after the Monday night game. I will be on Niners Nightly after the Monday night game wraps. So right around 8:30, we'll take your phone calls and talk more about this rough 49er weekend. For Damon, I'm Larry. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for waking up with us. Have a great one.